Hello there fellow NPCs, I am Carbon Scythe and today we're going to continue to play Seeds of Chaos. Well, shit has just happened. I was lured out into the forest, only to be ambushed by a bunch of orcs, and then I find out that it was all a big ploy in order to call me out, to kidnap my wife, burn down my village, and have me do the bidding of demons. Now, I just have to find those demons at the place where I once defeated the Karnas, and I have to come alone. So follow me on this journey as we save our wife, I guess. Let's go.
Easy, child. You were having a nightmare.
Rowan groaned and sat up, wincing at the lingering pain in his leg from where he had fallen on it. That dream he'd had. Something about a maze. He shook his head to clear the cobwebs. How long have I been out?
Half a day or more. I was going to wake you, but you needed a rest. I cleaned and dressed your wound the best I could. These old hands aren't quite as dexterous as they once were.
Rowan blinked a few times, heavily freeing himself of the last vestiges of sleep. In the light of day he could see the full extent of the damage the fire had inflicted on the village. Charred wreckage and empty shells of houses squatted on the grounds like a dismembered corpse in the morning mist. The center of town had been gutted by the fire. Not a single structure remained standing. A pillar of ash drifted weakly on the wind. The funeral pyre of Arthdale. It's gone. The elder closed his eyes and put a hand over his face, to hide the bitter tears that trailed down his wrinkled cheeks.
I know, my boy, I know. Small merchant caravan and the guards arrived earlier this morning. They agreed to escort the survivors to Briarbridge. We don't know how many are left.
What of the demons and the orcs?
No sign of either, I'm afraid. I tried to track them down as best I could, but the orcs' footprints vanished without a trace not far outside of the village.
Rowan felt the elder's hand gently touch his shoulder.
I am so sorry about Alexia, Rowan. If there's anything I can...
Rowan clenched his fist and looked away, not wanting the elder to see the rage that spread across his countenance. He could hear Ysera's mocking laughter echoing in his ears. Those demons were something different, dangerous. We need to warn the capital of the threat. His Highness must be informed.
Wouldn't it be wise if you spoke with the Duke of Reeve first? He's our liege lord, after all.
Duke of Reeve is a sack of potatoes. His apathy caused this disaster. The elder gave him a long, worried look.
Careful not to stir up the hornet's nest, my boy. You're only just back on your feet.
I can handle myself.
Of that I have no doubt. But the nobility don't take kindly to lowborn like us. And you have a worrisome look in your eye. I know you and General Verden have a...
He'll listen. He'll have to.
And if he doesn't, what will you do then?
Rowan didn't answer, turning his hard gaze in the direction of the collected ashes of Arthdale drifting across the sky. The elder let out a pained sigh.
I cannot stop you, child. You are, as always, your own man. I would only beg you to be cautious. There have been enough tragedies in our heart today. I cannot bear the thought of losing you too.
Alexia might still be alive, Elder. I need to do this, for her sake. The elder nodded, swaying slightly on his feet. It was obvious he hadn't slept a wink since the day before. He looked exhausted, positively ancient.
Then I trust your judgment. I will go with the remaining villagers to Briarbridge and await word. In the meantime, I'll gather what little supplies we have for you. It's a long journey to Restadale.
Thank you, old friend.
Goddess, and to think just yesterday I was scolding you for your vigilance. What a fool I was. I should have never doubted you, my boy.
I failed them, Elder.
No, none of that now. You are the hero of the whole realm. At the end of the day, you are still just one man. You can't carry the world upon your shoulders.
Maybe I ought to. It took a few hours of preparation, but soon Rowan's pack was laden with supplies. He strapped his sword to his waist, a bow to his back, and a quiver of arrows over his shoulder. May Solancia watch over you and keep you until I return.
And you as well, Rowan. I will be praying for that swift return.
The two exchanged tense goodbyes, both unsure if they would see each other again. Rowan tried to remember how he felt the last time he had left the village, all those years ago, unknowingly on the path to the demon castle, Bloodmean. And he felt excitement, fear, sorrow? No matter, he did not have the luxury of nostalgia now. The journey ahead was long and arduous, as he knew from experience, and it would be months before he reached his destination. He could only hope they would not hurt Alexia in the meantime. So yeah, I can expect that we would see how Alexia was holding up, but I did not expect this, to be honest. Despair. That was the only sensation that Alexia felt in the hours after she awoke. Alone in this gilded cage of a room, in a castle she did not recognize. When she had first come to, she was almost catatonic from shock, unable to reconcile the awful things she had seen happen to her beloved town, to her beloved husband. Goddess, that almost killed him. She had been certain she would be thrown into a dank cell in a dark pit, left to rot where no one would ever find her. But much to her surprise, that was not what happened. Instead, she was carried to a spacious, well-furnished room in the guest wing, fed and bathed by actual servants, human women. Fresh clothes were laid on the bed, and she was left alone to sleep. Okay, so there's two things here. Either they need her as a bargaining chip for Rowan, meaning that you can't have to treat her good in order to keep him happy, or demons, and this is becoming a trend in manga recently, in the past couple of years, I would say, maybe 5, 10, that demons are not so different from humans after all. They are not just demonic murder machines. They actually have good and bad inside of them, but they have been stripped of any, they are not looked upon fondly by other races. So they have no reason, they have no choice but to act demonically. But maybe they don't actually want to hurt her. They only want help from Rowan after all. So killing this, well, they did slaughter an entire village. Yeah. Well, bargaining chip it is. Let's go. But she did not get much rest that first night. Too afraid to drift off in case something happened to her. Orcs coming in the night to do goddess knows what to her, but nothing did. And now here she sat, not in a lightless hole, but a resplendent room of discomforting opulence. As prisons went, it was far from the worst that she could imagine, but she missed her husband and her home desperately. Goddess, what am I going to do? Good evening, Alexia. Alexia whirled around to face the demon. It entered the room like a ghost, his hulking form sliding with cat-like grace into her view. A combination of terror and righteous fury settled in her gut. You! Yes, me. It's a pleasure to meet you, Alexia. You may call me Andras. So stay the hell away from me, demon! Demon! Is that what you think I am? Are you not? The other girl, that girl was a demon and she's your sister. But actually, when he was first introduced, when we only saw this picture in the corner of him, I actually thought it was more like a Lamia. You're certainly not human. Her insolence seemed to amuse him. A humid gleam entered his face. You're only half right. He strode into the room, clasping his hand behind his back as he surveyed his surroundings as if looking at the room for the first time. I just came to check up on you. How are you enjoying your accommodations? Why would my comfort matter to you in the least? I'm hurt, and after everything we've done for you. Done for? You attacked us! You tried to kill Rowan! Is that what you think happened? He laughed, deep and heartily, as if he had told an uproarious joke. If I had wanted to kill him, he'd be dead. We didn't come to the backwater shithole to her, Rowan. We came there to recruit him. You tortured him! I subdued him after he attacked and nearly killed my sister. And she kidnapped me! Andras let out an annoyed huff. My sister and her plans. If it were up to me, I'd have let you go already. Then let me go now. He shrugged, the corner of his mouth turning downward in a faint frown. It's not that simple anymore. Andras strolled to the window of her room, peering down the long drop to the ground far below. You're not a prisoner here, Alexia. You're our guest, for the time being. I want you to feel welcome. I will never feel welcome around the likes of you, monster. Fiery. I like that. Let's see why Rowan fancies you. For now, at least, you have free reign of the castle. We have an extensive library, high towers with fantastic views, and a well-stocked larder. I'd avoid the staff if I were you. Some of them are less friendly than I am. If you need anything, you may call upon the maids. Or me, of course. Don't hold your breath. Andras laughed again, pausing at the door. You never know. Maybe you'll even learn to like it here. It was a brooding Rowan who made the journey northward in the aftermath of Arthdale's destruction. For over a day he tramped up the winding dirt roads of rural Rosaria, staring with blank numbness at the beauty of the landscape that surrounded him. In any other circumstance, he would have been invigorated to be on the move again. He had always been a child of the wilderness, an open space and open spaces in changing geography. He had often felt restless stuck in the safe, over-familiar bubble of Arthdale and its well-trod hunting paths. Now it was all he could think about. The sound of approaching horses in the distance caused his ears to perk up. Stopping in the middle of the road, he paused to listen. Heavy hoofbeats, the sound of clinking metal, and an approaching cloud of dust. This was a company of knights. Rowan's brow tightened. It seemed the garrison from Duke Reeves had finally arrived, days too late. Within a minute they rounded a bend in the trees, riding forth in 2 columns. A dozen or more knights, clad in full-plated mail, riding destriers decked in a panoply of purples and gold filigree. Damn, some of these words are difficult. God damn. Make way, make way. Wait, you're not Reeves' men? I know those colors. I said make way, peasant. I am Rowan Blackwell. You must hold a moment, sir. Rowan Blackwell? With some reluctance the knight held up a mailed hand, and the party pulled short. One horseman near the middle of the company pulled out of formation and trotted up to them. What is the hero Rosaria doing so far out in the wilds? The same thing you are, I suspect, though you were not at all who I was expecting. Did Captain Helania send you? Helena. Helena? Oh, that's a nice spelling nice way to spell Helena. Helena, I like it. Helena. I'm afraid not, Rowan. The bottom dropped out of Rowan's stomach. Goddess Fend, of all the knights and lords in the realm. General Verden. My apologies for the interruption, my lord. This vagabond claimed. A brief dismissive hand wave towards the other knight was the only gesture he made in acknowledgement. The knight bowed his head and retreated, leaving Rowan with a horse-mounted nobleman staring down at him. Cold, grey eyes regarded Rowan with a dispassionate disdain. Rowan bowed, as was customary, even as he felt prickles run up his back from Verden's gaze. At ease, soldier. Duke Verden. Verden, it's difficult to say. And isn't this the guy we were looking for? Rowan lifted his head, staring directly into his face. Verden, by contrast, did not look at him, turning his gaze instead towards the horizon, as if searching for something amongst the rolling hills and pastures. Without preemption, Verden spoke. I was at Reeve Keep, paying your liege lord a visit when the incident occurred. At his behest, I came to inspect the situation. His captain of the guard wished to come, as was her proper role. But that is what your village was a point of. But that it was your village who. Holy crap! What is wrong with this sentence? But that is what your village was a point of fascination. Wow. At least Verden's eyes turned to look at him, shifting the reins from his left to his right hand. His pale destrier let out a snort. I require a report, now. Rowan decided that the best course of action was honesty. He told him everything that had transpired. The old lord didn't let even the hint of emotion slip out of it as he listened. And then the demon simply vanished before my very eyes. I think they teleported away somehow. I've never seen anything like it. You mean, became invisible? No. 1 second they were there, and next they were gone. I meant they teleported. I watched them do it. Demons do not teleport. Well, these ones did. The glare on Verden's face could have cut through rock. He did not take kindly to corrections. My lord, whatever differences we may have had in the past, you have to see what this means. Demons rampaging through the countryside, wielding powers no one has ever seen before. You're the most powerful man in Rosaria. We both know Duke Rewa won't lift a finger to deal with this. If anyone can help, it's you. And what do you propose I do? I request a detachment to join me on an expedition north to Castle Bloodmean. Men-at-arms, knights, if you can spare them. A force sizable enough to brave the journey, with sufficient supplies for the trip. Did any other person see these lesser demons of yours teleport? Well, no, but... And you expect me to outfit an expensive and dangerous mission to the other side of the continent, because a single peasant said he might have seen them teleport. After all these years, it's still about social status to you. How about you trust my word? Because I saved your fucking castle? Ooh. For all the years we fought together. Ew. Oh. What was it? How about you trust my word? They did fight together, but he doesn't trust him. But he's not going to respond well for all the years we fought together. But he's sure as hell not going to respond positively because I saved your fucking castle. We need to be humble here. I believe that is the course to saving our wife, Alexia. So, be humble for all the years we fought together. He's gonna laugh at us for it, though. For all the years we fought together? Do you really think I, of all people, would make this up? You know that I speak from experience. I'm a general too, Verden. Former general. Verden shifted the reins back into his other hand. His horse began a slow trot. Rowan was forced to jog alongside him to hear what he was saying. The matter will be handled. I will provide a detachment of reinforcement to your liege, Duke Reeve, to aid in clearing the local orcish raiders. They will find these lesser demons of yours lurking amongst them. Remnants from the war, no doubt. If you wish to participate, consult him. But dismissed. Verden snapped at the reins and the horse went into a canter. The knights fell into line behind him. One of the soldiers gave him a sympathetic look before joining his compatriots. Rowan was left behind on the side of the road, dust kicking up into his face as they resumed the journey towards Arthdale's corpse. His fist clenched so tight into his hand he worried he might draw blood. He turned his gaze northward, toward the road that led to Bloodmean. So be it. The world might have been content to leave Alexia to languish in that place, but he wouldn't. It may be an obvious trap, but Rowan was resolved to rescue his wife, no matter the cost. So, we're back here. It had been months now. Months? Months of uncertainty and silence. No words from the outside. Not a peep about Rowan's whereabouts. She had no idea when it had happened, but Alexia had slowly grown accustomed to life in Castle Bloodmean. Why would we wait? Why would it take months to get to the place where Rowan defeated the Demon Lord? Then he must be traveling around the world on foot for that to be the case. Well, not in a fast way anyway. The orc guards no longer caused her to immediately shrink back in fear. The maids and the curiously skimpy outfits had ceased to give her nervous pause. The castle corridors, once dizzyingly convoluted to navigate, had become quite familiar to her. Still, it was a lonely existence. The maids were kind but perfunctory, and Alexia was too intimidated to try speaking to any of the orcs. There was no one else to talk to, no one to share her worries or woes. The only person who she could really converse with was the red demon Andras. He visited her often, in her chambers and otherwise. She had warmed up to Andras considerably in recent months. She remained cold and aloof to her demonic kidnapper. No. Alexia is a good person. She is not warming up to his demonic bullcrap. They are doomed. No. She's staying away from him. Too bad, because it's going to be amazing art. But her honey-eyed words and warm smiles could not hide the fact that he was an inhuman monster. Despite all the finery, all the pampering, and all the creature comfort she was provided, Alexia never forgot that, in the end, she was a prisoner to demons. She had spent her first lonely weeks in the castle trying to figure out how to escape, all the while suffering through Andras' crocodile smile every time he visited her on one pretext or another. He was relentless, and she hated it. However, such hopes of freedom proved pointless. Beyond the imposing castle walls, between her and her home, was a barren wasteland. Cold mountains stretched across the horizon, encompassing a withered landscape. Even if she could escape the castle, Alexia was no survivalist. How had she slept through the entire journey here? This desolate place could not possibly be anywhere close to her beautiful green home in the Rosarian Plains. Is there some kind of time magic going on? Is that also how they teleported? They didn't actually teleport, they just stopped time and just walked out of there? Time dilation is a bitch. Left with a little hope and even less to do, she spent what time she could buried in the castle's extensive library, huddled in a quiet corner, reading as much as she could. It helped her to ignore her growing despondency. A knock at the door heralded the arrival of her hated captor. Oh, what's with the long face? Go away. Ha! I thought you'd be happy to have a charming, handsome man to keep you company. Why, do you know any? To her annoyance, the bastard threw his head back and laughed again. Alexia's brow knitted together. She carefully saved her page in the book, set it aside and stood up to face him. What do you want? It's late, I'm going to bed. And you don't want me to stay? I'd sooner live from the castle parapets. I'll catch you before you could fall. Then I'll bite your hand. Well, you know the saying about the hand that feeds you. What do you want, Andras? What? No Lord Andras anymore? What happened to all the defiance in Artdale? You're getting soft on me. I'm sure you know the feeling all too well. Now, put the cloth away, kitten. I come bearing a gift for you. I don't want anything you have to give me. He ignored her harsh scowl as he pulled out a small object from his belt. His grin was like a shark as he dangled it in front of her. It was a stunningly beautiful necklace, encircled by a gold chain. Set in the center was the largest jewel Alexia had ever seen, a glittering sapphire. It was the kind of thing the royalty might wear. Andras smirked as he held it, balancing the end of the chain on the tip of his index finger as it swayed back and forth. Beautiful, isn't it? Like you. It's ugly and pretentious, like you. I want you to wear it. No. Oh. He moved toward her with inhuman speed. In the blink of an eye, he was in her personal space. Andras leaned forward, taking her chin in the hand and leered down on her. She flinched, but just managed to keep her composure. Look at that, as I said, amazing art. But it would look so good on you. Don't touch me. Brave to a fault. This is my castle, dear. Take the gift. Put it on. It won't kill you to do so. Maybe I'd rather you did. And miss seeing your beloved husband again? He's coming to rescue you, you know. And I would hate for anything to happen that might prevent the two of you from reuniting. Alexia glared at him as he held out the necklace to her. She snatched it out of his hand in disgust, lifting it over her head and draping it around her neck. He smiled, whining a step back from him, his eyes trained to the jewel at her throat. Yeah. Happy? You can leave now. Try taking it off. Dumbfounded, Alexia tried to do as he said. However, the gold chain only lifted a short waist of her upper neck before it snagged, as if hitting a wall. Desperately, she tried to yank the thing off, but it wouldn't budge. Ooh, no. No, a trap. Kind of a trap is it, though? Is he gonna suck her life force or something nasty like that? What did you... Oh, did I forget to mention you can't remove it? Now touch the gem and speak softly into it, like this. Alexia, shaken, took a long, hard look at the thing around her neck. If it means you'll finally leave, fine. She reached her hand up to hesitantly clasp the gem. You're an ass. Andras smiled widened. He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. A voice, his voice, spoke just over her shoulder. An ass. Surely you can do better than that. Alexia stumbled back from him, her eyes going wide with terror. Andras laughed, turning away and leaving the room without a second glance back. He paused just before crossing the entryway. So what happened? Is she telepathically linked to him now? And she can talk to him, and he through the jewel, and he talks to her mind. Enjoy your solitude for the next few days. I'm off to find your useless husband. The door closed behind him with a grim finality, leaving her utterly alone. Alexia, shaken, sat down at the bed. I'll always be with you, in here. A shudder ran through her. She looked down once again at the shimmering blue gem for a very long moment, her uncertain expression reflected in its contours. Ooh, that's nasty. Rowan was trapped, a sheer rock wall at his back. The only way was forward, into the toothless maw of the croaky monstrosity. The one which saw him as its next meal. But that is where I will be cutting off for today's episode. Not a lot happened in today's episode, but we learned something important. He's been really slow, and Andras is a bit of a stalkery ass, and is never leaving poor Alexia alone ever again. Yeah. Well, if you want to see anything else that I've been playing, you can find it at the bottom of the screen. And remember, just because you're not the main character doesn't mean you're not important. Goodbye, everyone.